Hi everyone, welcome to channel Qtomation. In last session, we have started with hooks in Playwright. We have seen concept of hooks in Playwright in our last session. We have seen what is before each, after each, before all and after all hooks. We have just seen the concept. In today's session, we will see about a real-time example of using before each and after each hooks in Playwright. So what exactly are hooks? Hooks allow you to execute the code before or after the test execution. It helps in setting up and cleaning up before and after test. It is also used to avoid repetition and improving test organization. And normally there are four types of hooks: before each, after each, before all and after all. Before each hook is executed before each test, where after each will execute after every test. Before all hook is executed once before any of the tests start running. So before executing all the test cases, before all will be executed. After all will be executed after all the test cases are completed. So before all and after all example we will see in next session. In today's session we will focus on before each and after each. So for that let me show you one practical example. So what we will do, we will write two test cases. First, without using before each and after each. Just like normal way, we will write two test cases. So for that I will use this website. So we will log into saucedemo.com with this standard user as a username, and this is password. We have to open this website. We have to pass username, we have to pass password, then we have to click on login button. Once you successfully logged in, our first test case is we have to count number of products. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Total 6 products are there. So our first test case is we have to verify that after successful login, there are 6 products are present. Verifying total number of products after login. That is the first test case we will write. And after that we will write another test case, that is for adding item to a cart. For example, once you log in to this website, what we will do, we will click on add to cart button for the first product. Then we will go to this cart. We will click on checkout button. We will enter first name, last name, some postal code. Then we will click on this continue button. Then again we will click on this finish button and we will verify this success checkout message. We will verify that this message is successfully displayed. That means it will verify the successful checkout of our product. So this is a second test case which we will do. And after that we will click on this logout button. So first test case is successful login, count the number of products and verify number of count of product is 6, and then we will click on logout. Then again we will log in and we will complete the checkout process. We will verify the thank you message and then again we will click on logout. So these are two test cases which we are going to write the script now. So what is the test case 1? Log into saucedemo.com, check if product count is 6 and log out. What is test case 2? Log into saucedemo.com, add product in cart, fill all the details, click on checkout and verify thank you message which is for successful checkout. and then log out. So these two test cases, let's write the script for this. So I will go to Visual Studio Code. I'm going to create a new file, and we are not using any hooks so far. I'm just going to write two normal test cases just like which we have written in our previous session so far. So I will just write a normal script of two test cases. So let's name the file as sourcedemo.spec.js. So I have created one file, spec file which I have created. In this, let's import test comma expect from Playwright test module. So we are just importing test and expect function from Playwright test module. After that, as usual, just write one test block. In this test block, let's give the title of the test case. So this is my test case 1. Verify total number of products. So this is the test case title of our first test case. Then comma. We have to provide a sync keyword, and then we have to pass page fixture in function. And in this we can write our test script now. So first step is, what I will do, I will just print console statement. Let's say console.log. This is test case 1. After that we can launch the page. Await page dot go to. What is the URL which we want to open is, this is the URL. So I will just copy this URL and let's paste that URL here. So it will launch this website. Once this website is launched, we have to perform login. So I will just write the code for login, successful login. So if you see, this is code for login. So let's try to identify the input field locators. So if you see, ID is there, user hyphen name. I'm just using that locator. Await page dot locator. If it's the ID, then we have to use hash user hyphen name dot fill. Which value we want to pass? Standard underscore user. Let's verify. Standard underscore user. So that is the username. And let's try to pass password as well. So let's identify this password field. Again, ID equals to password. So that is the locator which we can use. So I'm just writing that statement again. Await page dot locator. We have to pass ID of password input field dot fill. And this is the password which we have to pass. If you see, this is the password which we have to pass. After passing the username and password, we have to click on this login button. So what is the identifier? Login hyphen button. So let's use that identifier. Hash and ID value dot click. We have to just click on this login button. That's it. So these statements will launch the web page. It will fill the username, password, and it will click on login button. So it will perform successful login. Once you perform successful login, what is the next step? We have to verify product count is 6. So what is the next step is we have to verify product count is 6. So how we can verify that? So we can use any approach. We can find out number of product titles, or we can find out number of this image element which is present for every product. So you can use any approach in that. What I will do, I will just try to locate title of this product. So total number of title means total number of product. So if you see, for this specific title, I will find out one XPath which will eventually identify all the 6 title of products. So we have to find out such locator which will identify. So if you see, data-test attribute, that is inventory item name, that we can use. So I'm just trying to write the XPath for it. So let's try to write XPath for this. So if you see, div is a tag name, and we can use any attribute. So I'm just using this data-test attribute. Data-test attribute equal to value of that attribute. If you see now, it is highlighting all the 6 element titles, 1, 2, and if you see now, I will just minimize this a bit, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So all the 6 product titles are getting captured by this specific XPath. So we can use this XPath. We can identify all the 6 title of products, and number of title means eventually it will give you the number of products which are present. So what I will do, I will go to my script. Now we have to verify count of products to be 6. So first we have to capture the products. So I will just use constant, let's say products equal to await page dot 2 times dollar symbol, because we are dealing with multiple elements. So whenever we are going to write out the XPath which identify or which denotes the multiple elements, we have to use page dot 2 times dollar symbol, and in that I am just passing that specific locator. So let's use this locator. So I am just passing that locator here, and we have to count, right? So we have to find out count of this specific locator. So all the six product titles are stored in this products. I will just name it as a products, and if this products count is 6, that means our test case is successful. So what we will do, we will use expect function in which I will pass products, expect products dot length. So I will just use expect products dot length dot to be 6. So here we are checking whether this products dot length, so it will store all the 6 titles, so that means its length will be 6, that we are validating here. So if that is 6, that means our product count is successfully validated. It will pass if the product count is 6. So this is our first test case. Let me just save this test case. So this is our first test case. We can execute this test case as well. I will just execute it. npx playwright test. What is the file name? sauce source demo dot spec dot js hyphen headed hyphen project equal to chromium, and let's execute this test case now. So it should launch the browser, it will perform the login, and then it will perform count of product to be 6, and then we have to click on logout as well, that also we have to add. But let it first execute this test script, and let's check whether it is able to validate our checkpoint or not. So it is launching the test case now. It is launching the browser. After launching the browser, It is opening the web page now. It will perform the successful login, and if you see, test case is passed. That means it is able to capture all the titles and it is validating whether it is 6 or not. It is 6, that's why the test case is passed. And after that we have to perform logout as well. So I will just write the script for logout also. So first identify this button. Tag name is button and we can use this ID as well. So I will just use this ID directly. Control F, hash and value of ID. So it is highlighting that specific burger icon. Let's copy this. And now let's try to write the code for logout. Await page.locator. In this we have to pass that ID and we have to first click on it. So it will click on that burger icon. And after clicking on that burger icon, we can see this logout link. So I will just use to highlight this logout. It is present inside the anchor tag, or we can also use this ID directly. Control C, Control F, hash, and if you see, this is highlighting that logout link. So I will just use this identifier. Await page.locator. In this we have to pass that ID and we have to click on it. So it will perform the logout action. And after it performs the logout, I will add some timeout so that we will be able to see it, otherwise it will close too fast. So I'm just adding some timeout of 3 seconds. That's it. So this is the test case which will perform. So let me just execute this test case one more time. So it will perform login, then validating the number of count of products, and then it will perform logout. So these are the 3 steps which will be done by this test case. So let's execute this test case one more time. So it is starting the test case now. It is starting the test case. It will launch the browser. It is launching the browser. It will perform the login action. It will verify and then it successfully logged out as well. So that means our test case got passed. So this is the first test case. Now we will write one more test case, that is to perform the successful checkout action. So I will just copy this test case. After copying this test case, I will paste it here. I will change the title. Let's say test case 2, verify checkout success. I am just giving title of the test case. Async keyword page fixture. Console.log we can print as this is test case 2 now. Again we have to do login. So login part will remain the same in this second test case also. And then we have to write the code for also logout option will be, this part will also remain the same. Only part will change is this one, where we are going to verify successful checkout. So that part code we have to write. So once you log in, once you log in, we reach on this web page. After reaching to this page, first we have to click on add to cart button. We have to first click on this add to cart button. So let's try to find out locator for this add to cart button. So let's inspect element. Let's try to find out, let's say ID. So if you see, this is the ID which is present. Control F. It is highlighting the add to cart button of first element. So I will just copy this and let's try to write the script. The first step is await page.locator. We have to pass that locator here and we have to click on that. So it will click on that add to cart button. That is the first step here. So after clicking on this add to cart, Now we have to click on this cart icon. We have to reach to that cart page. So let's try to find out locator for this specific cart. Let me try to find out. If you see, this is present inside the anchor tag, and we can use this data test attribute as well. So let me write some XPath for this anchor tag @data hyphen test equal to, let me copy this value, shopping hyphen cart hyphen link. That value we can use. So if you see now, it is highlighting that cart. So I'm just copying this locator. Let's use await page.locator. In that we have to pass this locator and we have to click on it. So it will click on that cart icon and we will reach to cart page. So let's find out next step. So once you click on this, you will reach on this web page. I think it got logged out. Yeah. So let me just click on this. Yeah. So once you click on this, you will reach on this web page where we can see the product which is present, which we have selected and added to cart. We have to click on this checkout button now. So let's try to find out locator for this checkout button. So let me use inspect element to find out button, or we can use ID directly, that is checkout, control F hash and checkout if it is highlighting that specific button correctly. So I'm just using this ID now. Await page.locator. In this we have to pass that ID and we have to click on it. So it will click on that checkout button. After we click on this checkout button, we will land on this web page where we have to fill first name, last name and postal code. So let's try to find out locator and fill this some test value in that. Again, ID is first name. So I will just use this ID. Await page.locator. In this we can pass that ID and we have to pass some test value. So I will use .fill method and let's pass test user as a value. Then I will just copy this statement. We have to pass password and we have to pass postal code as well. So let's try to find out locator for last name. So again, ID is last hyphen name. I'm just copying that value and let's put that value here. So this is for first name, this is for last name. Dot fill, let's say some test last name. Then you have to find out locator for this postal code. So let me just find out locator for this postal code as well. If you see, ID is equal to postal hyphen code, I am just copying that value and let's pass that value here. So first name, last name and postal code. We can pass some number, let's say 40009. So it will pass this postal code in that third input field. So after passing those value, what is the next step now? So you have to click on this continue button now. So you have passed first name, last name, postal code, and now we have to click on this continue button. So again, ID is continue. So I am using this ID to click on that continue button. So await page.locator. We have to pass that ID, continue dot click. So it will click on that continue button. After you click on that continue button, let's see what is the next step now. It will pass some value. Let's pass some value here, last name or some passcode. It will click on continue. Yeah, so we will reach on this web page now. So it is a final page. So here we have to click on the finish button. So let's try to find out locator for this finish button. So here again, ID is finish, control F hash finish. So it is highlighting that specific element. So we can use this locator now. So let's use this locator. Await page.locator. Let's pass that ID here. One time hash is fine. Finish, and then we can click on it. Dot click. So it will click on the finish button. And once you click on the finish button, we will reach on our final screen, that is displaying successful checkout message. So we can capture this message and we can verify whether it is displaying thank you for your order message correctly. If this message is coming, that means we are able to do successful checkout. So what I will do, let's identify the element. H2 is a tag name and data-test we can use. So let's try to write XPath for this. H2 is a tag name at the rate data-test equal to complete header. That is the value of that attribute. And if you see now, this locator is highlighting the text which we want to verify. So I'm just copying this locator and let's create one constant. Let's say success text. I'm just creating one constant. Let's say success text equal to await page dot locator. In that I can pass that locator. You have to fetch the text content from it. So we have to fetch the text content. So it will fetch the text content and it will store the text content in our success underscore text constant. And then we can use expect function to verify that the success text it should be equal to. So we can use to equal method and we can pass the text which we want to verify. So what should be this text? I am just copying this value now. If you see, thank you for your order. So first we are capturing that value and we are comparing that value that it is equal to this value which you are passing here or not. If both the values are matching, that means our test case will pass. And then we can write the code for logout. So once test case is passed, we can do logout. So what it will do, it will perform logout action. It will click here, it will perform logout action. So this will end our second test case as well. After that, I have added timeout of 3 seconds. So let's save this file and now let's execute both the test cases. So now when I execute this file, it will execute both the test cases. So let's go to terminal and let's execute both the test cases. So first it will verify, in first test case it will verify number of product count is 6, it will make the pass. And in second test case it will perform the complete checkout process and it will validate the successful thank you message. And after that it will perform the logout. So these are the two test cases which are now starting to execute. Let's see whether both the test cases are getting passed or not. And these are still without any hooks. We are still using a normal test case. So it is performing the login. First test case is completed. Now it is going for second test case. It is launching the browser. It will perform the login action. And if you see, both the test cases got passed. Both the test cases got passed. So successful checkout also happened. Let me just execute one more time. In case you have missed it, let me just execute one more time. It will happen so fast because checkout process will happen also so fast. Let's execute one more time. So it will execute both the test cases. Now it will start the test execution. It is starting the test. It is starting both the test execution now. It will launch the browser. It will open the web page. For first test case, it will log in. It will validate whether the number of count of product is 6. It will log out. First test case got passed. Now it will again launch the browser. It will perform login action. And it will complete the checkout process. If you see, all the checkout process got completed. So both the test cases are getting perfectly passed. So now if you see what we have done so far, we have created test case 1, we have created test case 2, and we have executed both the test cases. So these are the steps which we have written the test code for. Now if you see in both the test cases, before and after the test case, there is some common part. What is the common part we can see? Login to sourcedemo.com. It is present for test case 1 as well, test case 2 as well. Logout after a test case, that is also common for both the test cases. So now what we can do is, by using before each and after each hook, the same test cases we can reuse. So some part of the test cases we can reuse. For example, this login and logout. Login and logout. We have to do for both the test cases. So what we will do, we will separate out login part, we will separate out logout part. So before executing each test case, we have to perform this login action. So this code we will write in before each block, and logout code we will write in after each block. So it will reduce the code, it will reuse the code. We don't have to write the same code again and again for all the test cases. So there can be n number of test cases, and every test case if needs login and logout, then there is no meaning to write the same code for each test case. Instead of that, what we can do, we can simply create before each block and we can simply create after each block. In before each block, we can write the login code, and after each block, we can write logout code. So whenever the test case will start, before test case 1, before each block will execute. After test case 1 completes, after each block will execute. Again, for test case 2, before each block will execute first, then remaining steps will be executed, and after the verification is done, after each block will be executed for logout. So by using before each and after each, we can reuse the code of login as well as logout part. So before each will execute before each test case, after each will execute after each test case. So now let me show you practically also how we can use before each and after each hook. So what I will do, the file which we have created, I am not going to touch this file. Let it this sample test cases as it is. I will just copy this code. I will just copy this entire code and I will create a new file. Let's create a new file again. I am naming it as, let's say, before hook example. Let's say before hook example dot spec.js. So I'm just naming it as, let's say, before each hook. So I'm just naming it as before underscore each underscore hook underscore example dot spec.js. And in that I'm just pasting the code which we have written earlier. So these are the two test cases which we have written. Now, how to use before each and after each block? So what I will do, I will create one more block here, test dot before each, test dot before each, and here I can write some, or it is not needed as well. So before each, this is basically before each block, in which I have to use a sync keyword, again the function. In this we have to pass page fixture. And now what we can do, so this is basically before each block. So this will be executed before every test case. So what I will do, what we have to do is, the code which is repeated, for example login code. So login we have to do before every test case. So I will just copy this code from this test case and I can put that code in before each block. I can put the login code inside before each block. So once you put that code inside before each block, again we don't need it in second test case as well. I'm just copying this, or we can simply remove this because we have already pasted that code in before each block. And similarly, we can create after each block as well. So I'm just creating after each block. Let's create that after each block. So I'm just creating after each block which will be executed after every test case. And in that part, what we can put, we can simply put logout code. So if you see from the second test case, I'm just copying this logout part and that part I am just pasting it here. And from first test case also we don't have to write logout code again. So I will just remove this part from the first test case. So what we have done here is we have written two block, that is before each block. Before each block contains the code of login, and after each block contains the code of logout. So before every test case, login part is repeated. So that we have to put in before each block, and after every test case, after each block is repeated, which contains the logout part. And once you put that code in before each and after each, we don't need those steps in our actual test cases now, because we have already performing before each action before every test case. So before this test case gets executed, it will first execute the before each block. That means it will perform the login, and then it will perform this test case. And once this step is ended, again it will perform after each block. It will perform the logout action. And then again for second test case also it will perform the before each, that is the login. Then it will perform the pending steps. It will verify the validation, and then it will perform after each block. That means it will perform logout block. So because of this, if you see now our code is reduced. We have reused the code of login and logout. So if there are 10 test cases which needs login before the test case or logout before the after test case, we don't have to write that part again and again in every test case. So we have to simply reuse that part in before each and after each block. Now I am just saving this file. Let's save this file. So I am just removing this. So let's save this file. And let's execute this file now, and to see whether our before each and after each code successfully executes or not. What we can do is we can simply put one console statement here. Let's say console dot log, this is before each code, and I can put one console dot log in after each code as well. This is after each code. So this code will execute after every test case, and before each will execute before every test case. So now let's save this file. And now again if I execute this file, ideally both the test cases should get executed. So now I will just execute this file now. npx playwright test. What is the file name? Before underscore each underscore hook underscore example dot spec dot js hyphen hyphen headed hyphen hyphen project equals to chromium. So now let's execute this command, and it should again perform the same test execution which happened earlier as well. So let's see whether it is able to perform both the test cases, but this time using before each and after each hooks. So now it is starting the test case. I think something is missing. Let me just check it out. Okay, so small mistake was there, small syntax mistake was there. So if you see test dot before each, after async keyword we have to pass inside this curly brackets. So we have to pass the page fixture inside curly brackets. So that was the small syntax mistake that was causing the error. I am just changing that inside the curly brackets. So now we are successfully written. So basically we have written before each block, after each block. Before each block contains the login code, after each block contains logout part, and these are the two test cases which we have written. So now let's execute this test code one more time. So let's execute this test file. npx playwright test filename dot spec dot js hyphen hyphen headed hyphen hyphen project equals to chromium. So now let's execute this file. This time again it should perform both the test cases, but we have used before each and after each hooks in this specific execution. So by using before each and after each, we can reuse the code. So now it is starting the test cases. It is starting the two test cases using one worker. It will start the first test case. It is launching the browser. Now before each block will get execute for login. Then test case 1 got executed. Then it will again launch the browser. It will perform login from before each. It will perform successful checkout, and then it has performed logout as well. So for logout, it has referred to after each block. And if you see the execution statements in our console.log, if you see console.log, in terminal also we can see first this statement got printed, means this is before each code which we have written here. If you see in before each block, we have written this statement. So this got printed first. Then test case 1 got executed. If you see, test case 1 got executed. And after test case 1 is complete, after each block got executed. This is after each code, means logout. So if you see, this is logout part which got executed. Then for second test case also, again before each block executed, test case 2 got executed, and then console statement of after each code got executed. So this is the benefit of using before each and after each. So what we have done, we have separated the login part in before each code. We have created after each block, after each hook which contains the logout part, and then we have reused the code in such manner. So both the example which we have seen, so I will just show you both the example. So first example which we have seen, without using before each and after each, what we have done in our first time, so we have not used any before each and after each. We have written two test cases just like in normal manner. First test case to check the count is 6 of all the product, and second test case to perform successful checkout process. In both the test cases, we have to perform login action. So this is the code for login. Then we have verified count, and then we have to also write the logout code. Then again for second test case also there is a login code, test case and logout code. But by using before each and after each, what we have done, in before each block we have written the login code, in after each block we have written logout code, and that successfully created the reusing the login and logout part. So before the test case 1 got executed, before each code will execute. After test case 1 is complete, after each code will execute. Again for test case 2, before each block will execute. After test case 2, after each block will be executed. So this is the example of using before each and after each hooks. In the next session, we will see about before all and after all hook. So today we have seen what is before each and after each. Before each gets executed before each test. After each hook will execute after each test. In next session, we will see about before all and after all. So thank you for watching this video.